What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us for another episode of Double Tech. It's your boy Dave here with my co-host Quinton and special guest Chuck Odie and Niko House. We have a special edition today on the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. Cincinnati Bengals versus Los Angeles Rams. And Niko, what are your initial thoughts on this matchup?
Man, I love Joe Burrow, bro. I really do. I know, like a lot of people
Don't
see
be
Joe Burrow as the Great White Hope with his nice little chain on his body.
I like to just call him the Great Hope sometimes, you know.
Nah, he a Great White Hope, man. They love that guy. I remember when Cam Newton came out dressed like Joe Burrow. They had some problem with that, but we ain't gonna talk about that right now. But he's a great guy. Like I have no problem with Joe Burrow being who Joe Burrow is. I encourage it, and it should be allowed across the board. But with that being said, Joe Burrow gets hit a lot, and that's all well and good. He can get back up 9 times, but I don't know if you're gonna be able to get hit 12 times and win this game, because on the other side of that fence, you got Matty Ice, the real Matty Ice, not the fake one, Matt Ryan. I'm talking about real Matty Ice launching that thing, boy. Like he gunslinger, and he's been robotic for the most part throughout this entire playoffs. And if as long as they don't try to lose the game like they almost did against the Bucks, this actually should be light work. A lot of people are saying it's going to be a close game. And maybe because they're thinking that McVay's going to try to be a little bit more conservative, which is a possibility. But I think if it's up to Stafford and that high-powered offense with Cooper Kupp and OBJ, oh no, they're going to sling it on them boys. They want to put on a show and turn those fake would-be LA fans, where everybody from every other team keeps coming in and flooding their stadiums. They're going to try to turn them into real LA Rams fans this Super Bowl and give them something to look forward to. So I think that it's going to be the LA Rams. I think Joe Burrow is going to try to get a good comeback towards the end, as Sean McVay always allows. But I think ultimately it's just too high-powered of an offense. I think that Matt Stafford is as clutch as we've seen him this playoffs. And if you've been watching him since the Lions, you know that this is actually who he's been. This isn't new. And I think that just a combination, we saw Von Miller win the Super Bowl by his damn self at one point, carrying Peyton Manning. Aaron Donald's being considered the best defensive player in history right now. Jalen Ramsey is like, no, I want whoever to throw. I don't care who you want to throw at. Like they're on a different high right now. And I think everybody on the Rams right now is playing for their next contract, which is a problem for them next year. But they're all playing for the next
tomorrow's
contract.
problem.
Yeah. So I think that's it, man. I think that's going to be the Rams.
What about you, Chuck? Who you got?
I got the Rams too, and I'm going to start where Niko left off with Aaron Donald. If you've been Aaron Donald. Now, Aaron Donald's not a normal player because he could have bad stats and the rest of the linemen and linebackers could have huge stats because they're double and triple teaming him, leaving someone open. So even when he doesn't personally do it, he shifts the whole defense around. Mm-hmm. And Joe Burrow has been getting – I'm a Joe Burrow fan too. He's a great quarterback. No question about that. But no quarterback could perform with linemen in your face. And he got away a couple games with like 8 sacks versus the Raiders. But this is not the Raiders. And Aaron Donald is going to be up in Joe Burrow's business as well as the other linemen. So I don't see Joe Burrow, being able to overcome that. That said, I've counted Cincinnati out twice already. So what do I know? What do
I was going to ask
I'll
that.
tell you
I was
that.
going to say,
I did not.
Look, I was going to say, so the consensus is just they ain't got no shot right now. What's going on?
But I gave Bengals their due. Me and Dave were like, actually, I think that Bengals are going to go to the Super Bowl. And in fact, this is still the worst matchup that Matt Stafford, at least with this one, is going to be a challenge. But I think that the Rams would have walked over anybody else, including the Chiefs.
Because this is the first team that the Bengals have actually faced as well that had a clear weakness, right? Or does not have a clear weakness. When you look at the other teams, the Chiefs, you can exploit the secondary. The Titans, they had injuries to Derrick Henry, and you have Tannehill. The Raiders struggled to make the playoffs and then had the coaching issues that they're carrying. So this is the first time you're going up against a team with no clear weakness. Yes, he suffered 9 sacks in the game. Yes, we've seen that Burrow will not make mistakes even under pressure, but that's not going to matter when there is nothing you can do to avoid interior pass rush. It doesn't matter that you keep a running back in. A tight end can't save you from Aaron Donald. There's nowhere to go.
So that's from our Stafford specialist. You know what I'm saying? Matt Stafford is hero. So I'm just going to assume you picking the Rams there. That's what that is.
We're all Rams fans this year, okay? Yeah. And I saw today that it is going too far with the Lions fans because they're making Detroit Rams T-shirts. And we'll have to get that posted on the channel for our fans to see. But man, it is bad. It's getting embarrassing how much they want a bandwagon. That's what's really kind of scaring me about the Rams.
First of all, I ain't gonna let him cap on that one. This man David and his dad's about to cry whenever they beat Brady. First of all, he's all looking into crazy. His man dad was pacing around the kitchen. We're like, it's okay, Pa. It's real, bro. He's going to the conference. He's real. It's happening. He's like,
the proof. It's the proof that we know what we're talking about. 12 years didn't go down the drain. Scouting this quarterback, knowing the truth, Stafford came out, and when he was a freshman, Todd McShay and Mel Kiper all said he was going to go number 1 the first year of his eligibility for the NFL draft. And he did. And he's proven it since day one. It's not going to be Stafford's fault when they lose. The thing that scares me here is the coaching matchup between Zach Taylor and Sean McVay, because we've seen Zach Taylor step off and let Joe Burrow conduct the games in order to win. We've seen Sean McVay slow down the offense, especially in the Tampa game in the fourth quarter, and get in the way, because Stafford does not know how to maintain a lead and not lose. Mm-hmm. Maybe Burrow does. I don't know. But I know both of these guys know how to go out and win football games. And if they're not allowed to do that, then you're going to restrict what they're able to do from the Rams' perspective. And if Joe Burrow, who has been playing throughout this entire playoffs with no pressure, is able to just, hey, man, we believe in you. Go out. And Stafford's got McVay, around his collar. This is going to turn ugly pretty quick.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm going to have to say it just like Dave said. I mean, on the first show of the playoffs, I came out and I said, the only team, if any team was going to beat the Chiefs, I picked the Bengals. Air threat alone. They had a weakness in the secondary. I don't care if Matthew was out there, he was out there as a weakness too. They had a secondary full of liabilities that the Bills failed to exploit early. The Bills failed to exploit early enough. So, I had a good feeling about that and where they could really go with it. When I look at the Rams, I'm like, well, you could try to run, maybe exploit the fact that they're better at pass rush, but that's not really the Bengals game, right? Okay, maybe I try to take you over top, but everybody's kind of playing that cover 3, cover 4, hybrid where they're just not letting you get over top. You're going to have to cut them underneath. So I'd have to say their only end would be that Jamar Chase has the ability to catch a 5-yard pass and turn it into 30, right? But that's it. The Rams, you've got Matthew Stafford turning Cooper Kupp into the Triple Crown winner. You've got Odell Beckham, the rebirth, the comeback, plating up, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much, like, you got to choose who to stop. And I'm sorry, if Eli Apple is one of your choices that have to choose to stop one of these guys, it's going to be ugly. It's not going to, I don't see it working out well. But I do, like Niko said, see that in-game run from the Bengals because they do play for each other. But in the end, the Rams are going to be too much. And, I guess, my next question would be maybe for Dave here starting off would be, so for each team, for them to win, who do you think has to be the impact guy? Who do you think, maybe somebody out the way, but somebody has to step up and be somebody for this team to win?
For the Rams, and I'm going to go a little outside of the pass rush. We've been talking about Von Miller and Aaron Donald a lot, but off the street and to join this team for the playoff run has been Eric Weddle at 37 years old. And now he has been given the green light and the green dot sticker on his helmet, which means that he will be the one calling plays and talking directly to the coaching staff on the sideline. Eric Weddle, in this situation, he has the ability to adjust, which we've spoken on the show. Raheem Morris has had huge problems with adjusting to another team's offense, and that's a requirement against the Bengals. It's not a matter of if, it's when you're going to adjust to what Joe Burrow is doing that's working. So I'm going to put it in the veteran, Eric Weddle, to come out here and direct the defense, maybe not make the plays, but make sure that we don't give up and mitigate the mistakes more so.
Mm-hmm. What about for Cincinnati?
For the Bengals, I think it's going to come down to the entirety of the O-line. That O-line stepping up is going to be the key for them because they can't run the ball 30, 40 times in order to win this game. They don't have physicality to take it with Joe Mixon, but that O-line can definitely protect them. Joe Burrow long enough, then that gives them a chance. Without that, it's over.
What about you, Chuck?
I agree with that O-line analysis on the Bengals side. And, we already spoke about Aaron Donald, but I think the delicious matchup is Jalen Ramsey versus Jamar Chase. How does that look? You know what I mean? Now, the Rams GM is GM of the year because they got Jalen Ramsey by trading picks. They got Matthew Stafford by trading picks. They got Von Miller mid-season. They got Odell Beckham mid-season. So the Rams have a top executive, and they actually have two top executives. The second top executive is Odell Beckham Sr., who helped facilitate
MVP.
facilitate Odell.
Oh, no.
So how about that? They got two good executives. That's why they're going to win.
All right. What about you, Niko? Who do you think they need?
So I'm going to go way outside of the box, man. The impact or lack thereof player for the Rams is goddamn Sean McVay. Bro, if you call this halfback dive on first down one more time in the fourth quarter when you're up by 7, instead of just letting the best player on your team, which is without a doubt Matthew Stafford, win the game for you, I would fire McVay before he even finished the game. Because I didn't mortgage my future on Stafford and these weapons for you to take it and put it in the running back's hands with 7, like with the game on the line. Like
that's true. Play who you pay. You gave up the draws. Let him go.
Are you going to allow Matt Stafford to win you the game? Or are you going to interfere, be conservative, and trying to lose the game because you're worried about your title as the boy wonder? And is it really Goff's fault? Was it really Stafford's fault, or is it Sean McVay's fault? Because that's something I'm sure that he's been kicking around in his head. Because like when we saw what happened with the Bucs, that was ridiculous. Game should have never been close, even with the turnovers. That was his fault. That was bad play calling to the point where even Stafford complained about it at the end. And
I want to say, you remember there was a time in football where if the running back fumbled, he didn't get back on the field. Y'all remember that was a time. I don't want to cut you off, but I just wanted to get on that with you. I agree with you.
Yeah. So, and on the Bengals side, I as like obvious as it seems, I would say it's Joe Burrow. But the thing about Joe Burrow isn't going to be his ability to be accurate. I know he can be accurate. I know he can throw a deep ball. I know he's smart with the ball. I know he doesn't turn the ball over. I know he can even take hits. But I want to know, can you manipulate this defense? Can you be smart enough to trust in your friendship with Jamar Chase to know I'm using you as a decoy until I get Jalen Ramsey over here and you open? Like, can I do you know when to dump it off? Like, yeah, he does. But at the same time, there is going to be that I got to get my best players involved. But what made Tom Brady great, what makes Matt Stafford even great, what makes the greatest quarterbacks great is that sometimes the best player got to be Wes Welker or some random guy that you'll never hear from again in a Super Bowl, because that's the one guy that they're not scouting for in this particular game. Can Joe Burrow overcome mediocre to lackluster coaching, the pressure of the Burrow Chase like connection by the media being pushed, and say, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win, even if it means throwing to that third or fourth guy that no one's expecting to until the defense completely shifts to account for it, and then just start throwing it down their throats to Chase, Chase is going to get locked up for the majority of the game. That's how this story actually tends to go in the Super Bowl for these superstar receivers, right? But he's going to get his 1 or 2 touchdowns. It's going to depend when he gets them. That's going to make the difference.
I definitely have to say, for the Rams, I'm going to go with Von Miller. We know who he is, but he has not been that man all of his time in the Rams. I want to say over the past 2 games, we've finally seen Von Miller get out of that shell of himself that we've seen at the end of the season when the Rams were either winning really, really close games or losing games that they shouldn't have. And the difference was Von Miller coming off the edge. It's not just pressure no more. It's sacks. It's strips. To beat the Bengals, you can't just sack them. And we've seen it. Sacks aren't enough. You need sack strips. You need turnovers. You need tip balls. You need these because Joe Burrow's interceptions have come from tip balls by the linemen or drop passes by receivers where they tip it up in the air. You have to your pressure has to mean something. It has to mean something. And that's going to come off the edge from Von Miller because he's going to be up behind him. He's going to be all over him. And we need that Von Miller. I know he's getting older, but
the quarterback of the defense is what's affecting his play somewhat.
I think they just run the sets different. You know, when he had DeMarcus Ware, they were doing a lot of different packages. They were rolling out the backside of each other. You know, they were swapping sides in the middle while they were trying to like figure out what the offense is. They do a lot of things at them, but the Rams are not that type of team. They run a very conservative, we're going to send 4 because we have the ability to, and they just want you to go get them. We need the strip sacks and we need the tip passes. And I'm just hoping that, like, look, Von Miller, if you got one game left and you know, I know you're getting older, this is the one. You've done it once in the Super Bowl, and that's another reason. He's done it once in the Super Bowl. He knows what it takes. And for the Bengals, I'm going to have to go with Higgins. To your point that Jamar Chase is going to be under pressure. And I love Joe and I love his confidence, but there's something about quarterbacks knowing that another team has a cornerback who is considered a lockdown that kind of shies them away from even attempting to throw it there, open or not. I do think early he's going to take a shot at Ramsey. I think he's going to take one early to prove a point. That's just Joe. Pick or no pick.
Yeah.
And Jamar Chase is good at like making sure it doesn't get picked off. If the defender's there, Jamar Chase plays defense. So Higgins is going to have to be the guy to take whomever's covering him that is not named Jalen Ramsey, and he's going to have to be big. I think he's going to have the most touchdowns for the Bengals. He's going to be the end zone threat. The man's 6'4", you know, he's a big body. He's able to go up and get it as long as it goes up high enough. So Higgins is definitely going to be my pick. But that's all we have for today. Thanks again. Like and subscribe. This is another Double Tech. We appreciate you guys for watching.
You.